Hello, I thought we'd repurpose a tablet box today. This is just one of my tablet boxes, just stopping getting acid, and I thought it would be quite ideal to make a little journal to go inside, which we'll do in another video. But to set off with, I'm just going to cover it with just random scraps of book page, music page, dictionary page, just so it covers all the writing up, basically. I've got some decoupage glue. What I might do before I start is just sand it a little. It's quite a shiny box. I'll do this away from the camera, then it doesn't get in the camera lens. It's quite shiny, so it'll take the glue better if it's just scuffed up a little. There we are, you can see it's not quite as smooth now. And I'm not bothering about taking the labels off because it'll all get covered up, so it doesn't really matter. Reasonable amount of glue. I'm going to start at the front and work my way around. Just going to dribble down the side. When it overlaps, I'll put a bit more glue on. I'll probably gesso this later, so it doesn't really matter if it's sort of writing that's shown or not. Straight bit. You can tear bits, you can have bits cut, whatever you want to do. This is quite thin dictionary paper, and it does tend to wrinkle because it is very, very thin. Smooth the wrinkles out as I go along. It'll have more layers on later, so you won't notice. Some bits I'll go around the side like this, some bits I won't. I'll just put straight on because I'm going to ink the edges anyway. So that bit can go around. If you don't mind getting your fingers messy, just smooth the corners and edges around a little. Which is quite handy to put your hand inside the box to hold it, and then you don't get glue absolutely everywhere. So. A straight edge there, so I'll go straight edge to straight edge. There we are. And I don't think I've got that quite straight at the top. You have to be careful because some of these packets, the edges at the top and the sides are not at the same place, so this edge is higher than this. I haven't realised that. And then round onto the back. I do apologise, that's a little girl next door. She's probably on a trampoline, she absolutely loves it. Now that looks as if it's just lifted, so I'll put a bit more glue on there. I'm probably going to ink this up, so onto the bottom. Do the other side. My craft mat's a non-stick craft mat, so it doesn't matter if I get my glue on there, I can wipe it off later. Yeah, so we'll go straight edge to straight edge. This decoupage glue actually works as a sealer for the top as well. I'm going to cut that bit off straight because it'll be much easier to do the bottom with a separate piece, I think. And as you can see, I'm overlapping some bits, so it'll give it a lot more strength. So I'm going to use it for a mini book. It needs to be a reasonable strength. It does not want to stick down. Time to get the fingers mucky. Get the air bubbles out as well at the same time. Just be careful it doesn't rip. If it's thin paper like this one, it possibly would have ripped. This is a bit thicker. The edge is nice and straight. So we've just got the back bit and the underneath and the flaps. So yeah, that bit'll do on there. It's lovely and warm here today. You can hear all the birds tweeting and singing, and our blackbirds have got their young have hatched out and are fledging, so they're absolutely everywhere. This box has got braille marks on it, so they will actually come through a little bit, but never mind. Right, so that's all the way around. I might as well overlap this onto the bottom. Make sure you've got glue under every bit to make it stick. And it is, as I say, much easier if you just do a straight edge to a straight edge. You can always go over later with another little bit if you've got gaps. What else have we got? Another straight edge. One little bit there that isn't covered. Just need a little bit of paper. That will do. So what I'll do is I'll go round. So I've got this bit here, I'll cover that little gap there, but I'll go up onto here. And then, because I've got all the edges sort of quite neat, I can go with random pieces now that go from one bit to the next. So again, as I say, make a little bit more strength to the box, but also make it a little bit more random, like this bit. So warm in here, my glue dries more or less instantly. Right, so that's that. I'll need a little bit on here just to make it look a bit prettier. There we are. That's better. So that covers the join, but it also makes it look a little bit more random. A bit more on there, and a bit on the sides. And all this glue and paper also gives it strength, as I say. I know I keep saying it, but it does. So what else? A little bit more on there. I think we need white on there. Because you can still see, just checking to see if you can see any of the tablet writing anywhere, and you can there. So we'll have that piece there. Going onto this corner and covering that edge. Have another little bit there. It's got a bit of ink on it, so I'll just tear it off. You could do this with pattern paper if you wanted. You could do it with basically anything you wanted, as long as it was thin enough to go around corners and not crack. Some really thick cardstock would crack if you were going around corners like this. It would crack on the edge. And a little bit there. This takes a while, but it's worth doing properly, because you've got a good base, and anything, you need to have a good base for anything before you start doing anything on the top. Right, I need a little bit more there, a bit more white, and then we'll go on to the flaps, which is another story. There we are. One tiny bit on that corner and we're done. I find it's pointless trying to go across corners, as in going there and there, because it just makes it too bulky. It's much easier just to put a little bit on like that, just to cover a gap at a corner.